Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks for watching our earwax removal compilation video today. You can see this ear canal, very humid, sort of moist canal, this one. Lots of soft wax and bits and pieces going on in here. So we're just going to use the standard size Zollner tube. When we pop the Zollner tube in, it'll take all that moisture out. It's all getting sucked inside the machine, which gives us a much clearer view. But we can see these little sort of dry pieces to one side and this very soft wax around the edge. That's just because patients been using a couple of different types of wax softener. Now, I've said to you before, we always ask our patients to use it for a couple of days before they come along. It's a bit more pleasant for the patient to have it removed. You can do it with the wax hard, and I've done it before if the patient has been unable to put the drops in, but it does make quite a big difference. I've got to be honest, if you put the drops in, it's a much nicer experience for the patient because you haven't got these hard angular pieces trying to get down the canal. But this is what's happened here, so it's really softened it up nicely. We've got this very sort of flat surface layer here, and now you can see that darker wax just beyond the suction tube going further into the canal there. So we're just going to lift this front section. This is what I'm doing at the moment, is trying to aim quite low. Gravity is naturally going to pull this wax to its lowest point, so we're going to try and lift it off that lowest point. There we go. You can see we managed to get the whole chunk moving forwards. Now we're going to hit a bit of a problem here because it looks like quite a long piece of wax. Now as we start to draw this out, it's naturally going to want to hit, you see the outer section, so we've got to turn, you can see it perfectly there. We've got to turn the wax now back on itself to get this out. So you can see I'm wiggling around there, really trying to work around the back. It's this piece here, this little bit of the trigger, so trying to work this out. There we go. Now sometimes if it's quite brittle it will snap, so I've just repositioned it and got a bit further back, and then we're going to draw this forwards and bend this round to the side as well. There you go. Out, that's starting to come. There we are, so that's all that bit done. Let's take a look behind that. Did it all come out really nicely? Yes, it did. So it came out really, really well. So you can see a very humid ear canal, very smooth surface to the wax there. And we go back in, we can see a lovely shiny eardrum. So this is the patient's other ear canal. Looks very similar. You can see very humid on this side as well. This actually was one of the warmest days over here in the UK when we filmed this one, so everyone was coming a little bit hot and bothered, and that was reflected in the ear canals, I think, for this one. But you can see on this one we've got to do the same thing, start to draw this out, a little bit soft around the outside edge. There we go, we've got a good grip on that plug, and we're just going to, looking around the side for some reason, we're going to bring it across to the other side. There we go, and we'll take a look behind that. There we are, we can see the eardrum looking good. There's little bits to tidy up around the outside edge. Mr. Taylor Green, the Twiggle Master himself, will be along shortly, guys. He's going to be doing a couple of videos. Unfortunately, I was meant to do it last week when I was off ill. We were meant to voice one over together. That is coming, okay? He's sent me some videos. He's got his own little videos, which I haven't seen yet. So we're going to do one where we both take a look at it together. I'll do voice over his, which I haven't seen, and he'll voice over mine, and we'll go through it that way. So stay tuned for that when that is coming. Hopefully, if we can get together over the next week or so, we'll get some videos out for you with the two of us in. I think he's going to make a bit more of a regular appearance as well, which will always be good. So we had about, I can't actually remember, I think that was it's my own fault for talking, 3/4 of an inch, about 2 and a bit centimeters, I think. Don't quote me on that because I didn't really pay much attention, I'm so sorry. So you can see this next bit now, we've got this very soft wax here, a little bit of dry skin looking at this, I would imagine. As we start to draw this forward, you can see we're getting a lot of these sort of very narrow ear canals. Now, it's not so much the canal itself is narrow, but the entrance to the canal is narrow, and you can understand why that would cause a problem for patients, especially, wow, look at the size of that piece. That is a big piece of wax, because if it's very, very narrow and the wax is traveling down a canal like this and it's got to get through a gap like that, it can't quite do it, so it will end up sort of accumulating around the entrance to the canal. When we took that piece away, you'll see this sort of darker blob on the left-hand side there. Now, it's always difficult to know whether that's a piece of wax or just a little bit of very soft, oily, sort of very broken down wax, if you like. So the only way to tell is by putting the suction tube on it. If it peels away really nicely, we know it's a big blob of wax. If it's doing what it's doing here and just kind of sitting there and not really doing a lot, then it means it's just that little bit of sort of oily debris left over, which is perfectly fine to leave inside the ear canal. It's going to keep that ear canal nice and protected from infection, picking up the dirt and debris and getting rid of it as it's going along. So this is what we removed. So I'm going to go just over 2 centimeters, 7/8 of an inch, that one, guys. So a nice big chunky bit of wax. So you can see the wax at the bottom of the screen there, and that sort of drier skin material then sitting just above it, going towards the top of the screen. Okay, so this is our next patient. I've lost track of how many we've done. Quite a few, I think, in this one. Very, very blocked up, this patient. Let's lift. Oh, there we go. You can see it all coming away. This is a hard section, this one. Is it going to stay attached to the suction tube? Now, that's always the question when you get these hard waxes. Sometimes you won't be able to get a great grip and we have to switch to a different tool. But it's doing well so far. It's coming out nicely. Let's give that a bit more of a wiggle. There we go. Out that comes. There he is. Let's take a look behind that one. That was a nice, easy one. I wish they were all like that. It was a nice, easy one to do that one. So yeah, patient hearing much, much better after that. You can see it was really blocking that canal up. And I think this is the patient's other ear here. Very similar story now. You can see just how much olive oil is in there as well, because it's all underneath the wax, all sort of coating it. The wax is really shiny and it looks a little bit softer on this side. You can see as I got a grip there, how it all jumped towards the suction tube. I'm taking this very slowly, just in case there's a very thin attachment to the wax behind, which there is. So if you rush that and pull it out really quickly, it's going to break that attachment. If you do it really slowly, it's more likely to bring a bigger chunk out. And let's get a grip on this next section. There we go. It's just starting to come away. Oh, it's quite at home in there. So I'm just going to grip on the side. As I pull, it's going to start detaching from the canal wall. It's going to just turn the wax slightly as well, so we can get a grip. Now at this point, if we needed to, we could reposition and pop it onto the slightly softer material underneath. But it's very loose. It's lots of pieces are all being condensed into a small space. So as soon as you start to release it from that space, it all starts to unravel these little bits. So out that is coming. There you go. That's looking good. And then we're going to take a look behind that now. A little bit on the corner there. Let's get rid of that. There we are. You can see the eardrum there. A lot of oil's gone in there, so you can see it's all looking a little bit over moisturized to me. Well, don't know what quite happened there. I showed you a blank ear canal then, guys. So these are the pieces we removed. So we've got 2.5 centimeters just over, 1 1/16 of an inch, or just under 1 1/8 if you refer to it that way. But you can see it's very, very dark material, this one. It was quite chunky old bits, these ones. So I think we're coming up, I think, to our last patient in this compilation now. And we can see on this one, very, very sort of solid piece of wax, this one. Let's get a grip on this. Just starting to lift. Yeah, it's pretty tight in there. You can see there's not a great deal of room for maneuver here. We're trying to move this wax from side to side to detach it from the canal wall and then bring this down the canal. But you can see there's not a great deal of wiggle room in here. Are we going to have to use, yeah, there we go. So the Jobson horn's going to come in here. I'm just going to scoop over the top. Oh, that's hard. You can see just how that Jobson horn just clipped the top edge off there. I didn't really do a tremendous amount as far as the wax is concerned. It's just peeled this whole front section off. That's fine, that's okay. It means we can go, we've got a little groove to work in now. We're more likely to get to the harder section at the bottom, and we can use that against the wax and start pulling. And what's going to happen is going to pull that whole layer forwards. Look at this coming away. There we go, through the little cilia on the outer part of the ear, through the hairs, and there is the plug. So it was really sort of jammed into that ear canal there. Just tidying up a couple of these looser pieces. There we go. And there's the eardrum. So this is what it looked like to start with. No eardrum visible at all. Ear canal completely and utterly blocked. And then that eardrum looking lovely and healthy. So this is the size of the plug. So I'm going to go with 3/4 of an inch on that one. 2 centimeters worth of wax came out of that particular ear canal there. You can see a fair size piece as well. That's kind of the width of your little finger, that one. Everyone's not looking at the little finger, but yeah, it's about that kind of width in that ear canal. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did voicing it over. As always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another. I shall see you again on Saturday. Bye, everyone.